how do you market or how do you sell the produce? Like, so we already spoke, like you don't usually sell them to the corporates, like any corporate chains, right?
So our main platform for advertising is we use Facebook, but we don't pay for any ads. I don't pay for advertisement. We market directly through Facebook. That's really my only platform, other than we use farmers markets and we tell people. Word of mouth has been our biggest thing. We just talk to people, we tell it. You know, you got to be passionate about what you do. If you can be passionate, you get people to understand that, then they're going to support you. And that's what, when we go to the market, generally, especially myself, of course, it's my deal. But you know, if people come up and they want to talk about vegetables, or they want to tell me about their stuff, we engage them, right? And that's been a big marketing thing. But it's not just marketing; it's just being a real person to those other people, and they understand. You know, it's not some guy on a tractor out there; it's this real person. But we use Facebook. We do a recipe once a week, so we'll post a recipe through Facebook, and then we do our community supported ag program, which is our share basket. So it's a subscription, and so with that we post with that, hey, don't forget to put your stuff out, hey, this is the share, and then we give a recipe. So we're posting 3 times a week. Sometimes you don't get a lot, but it's keeping us there, you know, and that's all I want, because with a farm like this, like during COVID, you get too much growth, you can't handle it. So you just need a steady, you know, consistent flow of people that will support you, and retaining your customers is more important than building new customers, because you want to keep your customers happy. And if you can retain 50% of what you get for the year, you're doing pretty well, you know. And so that's kind of the thing. I want to try to make people happy. You know, like our CSA isn't for everybody. Not everybody eats vegetables. A lot of people eat out. But if you don't, it's a really good thing for you, you know. And so with that, we can market it that way, you know.
So are you able to sell all the produce you have right now? Like, I mean, you're not selling this produce to the corporates. Whatever you produce, are you able to comfortably sell to the people, like using the Facebook or home deliveries?
Oh, yes. No, we're doing really well. It's taken me 5 years to build to this. So it was rough the first couple of years. So when you get into farming, unless you have a lot of money that you can sustain yourself and you're there to have crops fail, it's really hard your first couple of years, because you have to just build your infrastructure. And you can mimic someone's infrastructure, but if their farm is 30 miles away from yours, that doesn't mean it's going to do exactly the same. You know, you could have a different weather pattern altogether, just as rainfall. And so, you know, it's one of these things, when you first start farming, it's scary and it's hard, and you know, you're not going to make much money. And farming in general, you don't make much money. You make enough that what you need to do is you focus on the sustainability model. You make enough that can sustain the farm and can sustain your help. And that's what you do. And generally, as a farmer, you don't make the money. The farm keeps rolling that money, you know. And because you always constantly need something, you know, a new shop, or because growth in the farm, when you start adding more and more crops, because we're going to be at 37 acres this year. So that means bigger cooler, you know, or how do we do this? And we need more people, you know. The general rule of thumb, to be comfortable and be able to be productive, you need 6 people per acre. So that means you can have 30 acres and do 1 acre a day, but you need at least 6 people to help you work that acre. If you can't find that, then you need the tools to help you do it better, you know. And so that's why they end up with the big tractors.
So just to add to it, even we have farms back in India. Like, my father is also a farmer. So since it is farming, we don't get a lot of money back from the farming. But I understand.
Right. So that's why we added a pizza oven, because it brings people to the farm. It becomes where the farm's transparent to people; they can see it. But also, it's an extra revenue stream that's coming. That's going to something that makes us money that we can put into the farm, where we don't have to produce the vegetables or find that market. And so in selling to grocery stores, that's the hard thing. You have to produce a lot of vegetables to do that. And if you're doing it as intensely as we do, that's pretty difficult, you know. So, you know, you'll end up losing a lot because you can't sell it fast enough, or you can't get it out of the field because you don't have help, you know. So.
And also, do they pay well? Like, I mean, the corporates or the grocery stores, do they?
I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say probably not as well as you could do at a farmer's market or something like that. But even then, farmer's market, you can be at a market that's really good and move a lot, but most of the markets that you go to, they're smaller and you don't move a lot of products. So, you know, and you try to find the good markets. You can get consistent markets that you move enough, but it's all about scale there, and it's kind of the same as the grocery stores. You know, if you have too much and you can't sell it, then, you know.
So, tell me more about the home delivery you guys do. Like, when did you start doing that? Or, I mean, also why you started that?
So, when we first created our CSA, it was there's a model that you follow that's like a traditional model that they've been doing. I think at the time when I started mine, there was like 6,300 CSAs in the United States. It's probably triple that now, or less than that. I don't know. I don't know the statistics right offhand. But when I first started, I did a traditional model, which would be you pay me up front and I give you X amount of weeks of groceries. Well, to be honest, I think I offered 18 and I could only make 13 weeks, and then we lost our crops and then we didn't do very good. So we had customers that didn't come back. We didn't retain our customers because we couldn't do it. And but on top of that, you know, then we were like, okay, well, if you're a customer then, we'll give you half price next time. So long story short, that model, people paying you in advance, it was really hard because they take the risk with you, but they don't get anything back and they don't want to spend their money on that. So they used to have to come and pick it up from me. So it was inconvenient, it was costly, and they had a chance of losing their money if it didn't come back. So it wasn't I didn't like the model. I didn't think it was fair. They didn't think it was fair. And I was like, okay, this is a traditional model. And some even go as far as, if you want to be in that, you have to come work at the farm X amount of hours to pick up your share. And it's like, that's a lot to ask. So I said, you know what, we're going to do this for the customer, and we changed it, and I said, okay, I'm just going to put you on a monthly subscription. That takes away the whole upfront cost. That gives me cash flow that I can use every month instead of taking that bulk sum and trying to budget it. And at the same time, I said, I'm going to deliver to you because I don't want to sit here waiting for you for 4 hours and you forget to come and pick it up, and then you got to come anyways. And so why not just give it to you? And so we started that, and it worked, and I actually picked up more customers and retained customers because it was simple. It was subscribe and let it go, and then, you know, and so it was really, really cool. And so it just kind of came about. But like I say, there was another farm doing the subscriptions. They didn't deliver, and I'm like, well, I'll just go one step further and deliver, you know. So
how many people help you? Like, so back in India, with my experience, like my father is farmer, right? So we had I won't say it's a bad experience, but the labor costs in the agriculture are too high. So whatever we get as profits, that just goes to the laborers. So how do you manage that over here? Like,
I mean, it's hard. I mean, you know, selling vegetables is inconsistent. You know, it goes in patterns just like anything else, but it's a little different because it's funny. People don't always value their health as much as they do something else. So this time of year, in the fall, we actually lose customers to Thanksgiving and Christmas because I got to save money for Christmas. You know, I got to go buy presents. And so it's one of these things where it's up and down. And so in order to keep everything level, like I say, I added the pizza oven. We do farmers markets. We do different things. You know, we have events, things like that to balance it. But the labor cost itself, this is the first year I've ever had help. Before I used woofers, so there was a woofing program where you can go and learn how to farm, and you work X amount of hours and you can stay in, they give you room and board. So we did that for a little while, and that worked and it didn't work. You know, we had some good ones and bad ones, you know, and that's the way it goes. But, you know, that helped get us to here. And now this year, right now I have 4 people helping me. And, you know, you really need 6, like I said, but it's working, you know. And so by adding extra things that we can bring extra revenue, that's how I pay, because the crops don't bring in the money for that. We have to do a lot of other things to get that money. So if you need to think of your farm as like a diverse entity. In order for it to be dynamic the way you want it and be profitable, it has to be diverse. So it's not just diversity of crops, it has to be diverse in the things it does, you know. Like this, we're going to try to let people have wedding receptions here or parties or whatever, you know, things like that, and that helps bring in extra money, and then I can pay Juan, right, you know, or whatever. And so and you also have to have employees that are invested, like that's very important. If you know, if someone's got their personal life in the middle of it or whatever, it doesn't work, because this is a living, breathing thing. You know, if you're doing computer program, your computer sits there, and until you go back and type that next line, it's sitting there. This, if you leave it and you don't come back for a week, guess what's there? Weeds or problems or whatever. So it's something you have to be invested in it. You don't have to work 24 hours a day. You can make it pretty and do that. But I found that if you just use it like a regular job, but then love it, where even after hours sometimes you just stay because it's fun and you don't pressure yourself, that makes it better. And then that also helps with the strain of not having enough help. You can be there and you just have to enjoy it. You know, if you're out here doing this stuff and you don't enjoy it, then you probably shouldn't be a farmer, you know. But yeah, so the labor cost thing, adding extra things and being diverse helps.